Peter Newbold is the GM of PGG Wrightson. We take a monthly look at the rural real estate market with our expert in the field. So let's have a look at the year that's been, 2019. Peter Newbold, a tough year for selling farms. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Jamie. Yes, it has been. It's probably been one of the toughest for, probably 4 or 5 years. It started slow, and spring is only really sort of just coming to fruition now. There's been a lot of challenges out there, and so it's been a tough old couple of months for all those in rural.
Hey, Peter, when we look at the rural real estate or the farm sales per year going back to 2008, just pre-GFC, in 2008 we peaked at $6 billion of farm sales, and then GFC came along. Next year we dropped to 1.5, but 2018 looks like it might finish up at 2.7. So we've seen a lot of drop off in activity, haven't we, in the past 10 years?
Yeah, and I guess it's that sort of 10-year cycle, or 7 to 10-year cycle people talk about. But after GFC it dropped right down, and then it slowly peaked back up around 214. There was a little rise in 16, and then it's just basically fallen down, and it's heading down towards those sort of levels around 209. So I guess you could look at it now and say, we're at the bottom of the cycle, and I guess now looking forward, you'd like to think there's some opportunities for people out there, and a new cycle will start.
Hey, Peter, I think there's some great opportunities, but the biggest problem facing anyone wanting to buy a farm is funding. The banks, some of them, have shut up shop. Thank God for the likes of Rabobank, and I'm tipping my hat to them here because they specialise in farm lending, but some of the Aussie trading banks have, put out the sign back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, look, it'll be fair to say that's probably the number one issue at the moment for us in selling farms is the whole lending piece. I think all the other issues are probably secondary at the moment. So that's probably the biggest challenge, and hopefully as time moves forward, that'll readjust and people can move on with their lives. But definitely it's a tough space at the moment, along with the due diligence which is taking place at the same time. You add the two together, and it's pretty challenging. So I guess from a vendor's perspective, the key is around pricing your property correctly, and then you'll have some momentum. But otherwise, all the buyers out there are really looking at it from a yield perspective, and the capital gain stories, as we know, is no longer there.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The dairy market's in limbo a wee bit at the moment, but sheep and beef's pretty strong at the moment. What sort of interest are you seeing for grazing properties?
Grazing properties have probably slowed a little bit along the lines of dairy. If you look at the statistics, it's probably mirrored dairy. There's still interest in sheep and beef, probably more so than any other sector at the moment. Again, the buyers are choosy. There's a lot of quality properties out there, but it'd be probably, if I look at sheep and beef as a sector, it's probably the most demand in and around that area at the moment. And if you look at all the returns, in all the sectors, they've never been so good.
Now, horticulture is still going great guns at the moment. We've heard all the stories about Stan Robb up in Taronga there selling kiwi fruit orchards for $1 million per canopy hectare. Our PGG Wrightson property of the week's at the other end of the country. It's a cherry orchard in Cromwell. What sort of yields are you getting on these things?
Yeah, well, look, it's an area down there which has really taken off. And I guess the climate down there lends itself well to it. So some of them are getting, between 70 and 100,000, per hectare after costs. Again, a lot of that is around how you manage your property. But yeah, look, there's a lot of investment going in there. The returns are good. Like all farming, you've got to be careful around, frosts and weather, but I think most of them have got that under control. But yeah, definitely that sort of Cromwell, Central Otago area is a perfect fit for cherries.
So go and have a look at our PGG Wrightson Property of the Week. You can find it on our website, thecountry.co.nz. Click on Rural Properties and there you will see it. A 6-hectare cherry orchard in Cromwell. Very good yielding property. Have a look at what it offers. It's sold with shares in the management company and packhouse that markets the export quality fruit for you. So look, it's all happening in Cromwell. It is a boom place. Peter Newbold from PGG Wrightson, thank you for your time and onwards and upwards for the rural real estate market in 2020.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie, and you and your team have a great Christmas.